I am very much feeling John Rothstein's take of "We sleep in May" this week. What a week it has been for college basketball. We had three more automatic bids clinched yesterday. Congratulations to McNeese, Colgate, and Montana State, all making the big dance. No conference title games today, but boy, Thursday might be the biggest game for the bubble all week. So let's get into it. I'm DaRock. Welcome to Layup Lines, the bandwagon sports college betting show. So today we're going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to go through the six major conferences in the Mountain West. I'm going to go through game by game. I'm just going to give my picks. I'm just like who I think wins. But while I'm going through each conference, I'm also going to preview. I'm going to give my biggest bubble game to watch and then my best bet. So let's get into it. We're going to start here with the ACC. So as you can see here from the ACC tournament, we have North Carolina playing Florida State to start the day. Then Pitt, Wake Forest, which that's my bubble game. That's a big one. Both these teams right now are on the outside looking in. They need to win this game if they're going to get into the dance, have a chance. Then we have Duke taking on NC State. And then Virginia taking on Boston College, who upset Clemson yesterday in the nightcap. So, like I said, Pitt, Wake Forest is my bubble game. These two teams split the season series. And Wake Forest, though, actually had a pretty big blowout win the last time these two teams played. Like I said, Wake was looking pretty good yesterday. Like I said, they're looking pretty good after their win against Notre Dame, or win against Duke, but then fell Notre Dame. But I thought they would get revenge yesterday, which they did. But Pitt is well rested. You know, they haven't had to play yet. Wake Forest had to play yesterday. And I'm actually going to go with the Panthers. I think Blake Hinson, he's a really solid player for Pitt. So I think he's going to lead the Panthers to still have a chance here and on to the semifinals. Then my best bet is Duke, minus 11.5 versus NC State. They just beat the Wolfpack by 13 in Raleigh a couple days ago. Also now Duke, a little bit more time to prep and scout. That NC State game was off their weekend game against Virginia. So hopefully now maybe they'll have a better game plan to stop DJ Burns, because he was kind of cooking the Blue Devils a couple days ago. But they were still all they covered then. I think they cover again tonight. Then the next conference we're going to get into is the Big 12. Sorry, I'm changing them here on my screen. So the Big 12, we have BYU taking on Texas Tech to start the day. Then TCU against the 1 seed Houston. Then Kansas State upset Texas, so we'll see. Texas was pretty safely in the field, but I don't know if we have some movers this week. Maybe that changes. And then Cincinnati, granted, like I said, Kansas a lot of injuries, but I was very wrong on that not mattering for Kansas, as Cincinnati beat them by 20, so they're on to the semifinals against Baylor. So the bubble game, Kansas State against Iowa State's probably the biggest bubble game. It's really only for for Kansas State. Misspoke, my apologies. Like I said, a lot of these Big 12 teams, like the Big 12 is projected to have 9 teams in the field, so like Kansas State and Cincinnati, it's going to be bubble games for them. If they want to go on a run here, make the tournament, they're going to have to go on a run. But, these other teams are pretty squarely in. And sadly, I think today it comes to an end for those two teams. My best bet is Baylor minus 5.5. Like I said, when you've played Cincinnati's now, this would be their third game in 3 days. Baylor's really solid squad, only 5.5 points. I'm going to lean that there. Like I said, Baylor was a dark horse pick. I don't know if it's really a dark horse because they're the 3 seed, but a good value play I had to win the Big 12 tournament, so I like them. And then I also like BYU, even though they played yesterday. I like them to beat Texas Tech minus 2.5. BYU's a really solid squad. They have the center Ali Khalifa, some really good guards, and Jackson Robinson and Spencer Johnson. They're a team I think could make the second weekend, go on a little bit of a run here. So I like them to win against Texas Tech. I think they're the better team. I'm going to take them minus 2.5. But yeah, so my winners, I'm going to go BYU, Houston, Iowa State, and Baylor. I don't know if I did that for the ACC. I forget. But I'm going UNC, Pitt, Duke, and Virginia in the ACC. Yeah, I definitely did not do that. So. But yeah, there we go. There's my ACC and Big 12 picks. Then moving on here. Third, we have the Big East tournament. Also, as you can see, this graphic doesn't look as good because I had to fill in the team. Shout out the conferences that actually update their bracket on their website every day. The conferences that don't, made me do it manually. Not happy with you. But I'll forgive you because I love the Big East tournament. So Big East tournament matchups, we have Xavier, UConn. St. John, Seton Hall, Providence, Creighton, and then Villanova, Marquette. So, obviously, big bubble games for St. John, Seton Hall. Big East we kind of went through already with Ian on yesterday's show. I'm still liking St. John's to win that one. I believe they're 3.5-point favorites. I'd probably take that, but I think they win that game against Seton Hall, make their chance of getting in the tournament a lot better. And then Villanova, they barely survived yesterday against DePaul. They need a win today if they're going to have a chance to get in the tournament. And this one, I think I'm actually changing my tune. If they just blew out DePaul, I wouldn't really feel like, you're just kind of like, okay, that's expected. Everyone does that. In March, sometimes you need a little adversity. And having a team that only won 3 games all year, no Big East games, take you down to the final possession, I think, is that adversity. Tyler Kolek is officially out for Marquette. And like I said, I got to catch Ian somehow because he picked Xavier, I picked Butler, so that was our only different pick. So I'm switching up. I'm going Villanova wins. I still think they play Creighton. Creighton minus 7.5 might be my best bet. I think they're a really solid squad. And just like the UConn Xavier spreads minus 15.5. In a tournament, I don't know if I like riding some of that high, even as dominant as UConn is. So I'm going Villanova, Creighton, and then St. John's, UConn as my semifinals for the Big East. Then moving on to the Pac-12. Here it is. So we have USC, Arizona, UCLA, Oregon, Stanford, Washington State, and then Utah, Colorado. Bubble game. Biggest one is for SC. They're going to have to win the tournament if they want to go on a bit of run. They did just beat Arizona a couple days ago. I am going to take them plus 8.5. After, they did have a nice win yesterday against Washington. Arizona was on bye. But I think I'm still going to go with the Wildcats to win that one, probably bursting the Trojans' bubble. Colorado's a team that needs to go on a bit of a run. They're only 2.5-point favorites against Utah, and I like them to cover that. I mean, they've won 6 straight games, including nearly a 24-point win against Utah. Couple as part of that run. Washington State is a solid team. They're going to be in the tournament. I like them to win. And then I'm just going to go chalk here. I'm going to go with Oregon. UCLA is really not that great this year. They haven't impressed me. So I'm going Arizona, Oregon, and then Washington State, Colorado is my semifinals in the Pac-12. And like I said, I think Colorado goes on a bit of a run here, and they get themselves into the tournament. Then the 2 other major tournaments. This one, it's just a play-in game today for the Big Ten. Or not play-in, but second round. So not quite the quarterfinals. So we have Minnesota, Michigan State, Maryland, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Iowa, and Penn State, Indiana. Ohio State, Iowa is definitely that bubble game of the day. Both of these teams, right now, definitely on the outside looking in, but they're both playing pretty well this time of year. They could go on a run here. So, but I like the Buckeyes. I mean, since they've hired Jake Diebler and let go of Chris Holtmann, they've just been on fire. They've had wins against Purdue. They've had some solid wins on the season. I could see the Buckeyes maybe even sneaking into the tournament here. So I'm going to take them to win minus 1.5 against Iowa. Maryland, they won yesterday. Wisconsin's a team that hasn't been playing super well as of late, but Maryland, they had to play yesterday, so I'm going to go with Wisconsin in that one. Sorry, I'm jumping a little bit here. Or no, those are next to each other. Sorry. No, I'm sorry. All over the place. Oh, no, I messed up. My best bet is Minnesota plus 6.5 against Michigan State. These two teams split the season series. Michigan State's only win recently was on senior night. And the Big Ten tournament this year is in Minnesota. It's at the Target Center. So a bit of home cooking for the Golden Gophers. So I'm going to go with the Golden Gophers to win. So they're going to play Purdue. Like I said, then I have Wisconsin playing Northwestern. I think they win. I have Ohio State playing Illinois. And then the final game, Penn State, Indiana. The Hoosiers are another team. They've been playing kind of well recently. Announced they're going to bring back Mike Woodson. So I'm going to actually go with Indiana as well. So then that gives me Indiana against Nebraska. Like I said, Indiana also, they had a bye. Penn State had to play yesterday. So, especially like late in the day, like you don't have to worry about like rust and like not being ready to play from Indiana. So I'm going to go with Indiana to win. Then the final major conference here, same thing as the Big Ten. It's just their second round today. So we have Mississippi State, LSU. Arkansas won last night in overtime now they play South Carolina. We have Ole Miss versus Texas A&M, and then Georgia versus Florida. Georgia won yesterday as well, comeback win against Mizzou. Mississippi State right now is currently in the field. I think they beat LSU. They maintain their spot in the field. You know, they could drop out. I mean, they're the last bye in Lenardi's bracketology that he released the other day. So I'm going with them to win. Texas A&M is the first team out. They need a win against Ole Miss, and I think they get that. Just think Ole Miss was like one of those teams that this year they were good at the start of the year, but have fallen off. So I kind of target them, like to bet against them. So I'm gonna go with A&M. My best bet: South Carolina -6.5 against Arkansas. Like I said, Arkansas had to play yesterday, played an overtime game. Probably gonna be tired today, especially since they're playing in the morning slot. So, and South Carolina's a pretty good team. You know, I've been high on them this year. So Lamont Paris done a pretty good job coaching them up. So I'm going with the Gamecocks -6.5. And then I actually think I might go with Georgia to upset Florida. Florida won both the meetings so far this year, but they played pretty close in both of them. And Blue Cane got hot yesterday to come back against Mizzou. If he can do it again, I think they can knock off the Gators. So in the SEC, I'm going Mississippi State, South Carolina, Texas A&M, and Georgia. And then not a major conference, but they're going to get a lot of bids, so we're going to touch on it here to wrap up the video. The Mountain West. In the Mountain West, we have Utah State taking on Fresno State, UNLV taking on San Diego State, Nevada versus Colorado State, and then Boise State, New Mexico. Bubble game for New Mexico. Right now, they're on the outside looking in. They're -1.5, or they're 1.5 underdogs against Boise State. But the Broncos have been playing well. They're a team I'm high on. I like Boise State to win that one, probably end the Lobos season. Utah State should cover pretty easily against Fresno State. Fresno State's 12-20 on the year, not very good. Utah State's the one seed in the conference. I think they can cover 12.5 pretty easily. Nevada is a couple point favorite. Sorry, I don't have it right in front of me. Against Colorado State, they won it on that half-court buzzer beater against Colorado State a couple weeks ago. I also just think the Wolfpack have been playing pretty well recently, and every time I've kind of doubted them, picked them to lose on this video, they win, and they keep proving me wrong. So actually this time I'm going to go with Nevada. And then UNLV has been playing really well lately. This tournament is in Vegas, so while San Diego State is a 6.5 point favorite, I'm going to take UNLV to cover that, but I do think the Aztecs win the game overall. So, I mean, maybe a little bit chalk here, just going with the top seeds, but that's what I am thinking here in the Mountain West. So that's going to wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've been enjoying Layup Lines, make sure to hit a like, subscribe if we're on Spotify, follow, rate 5 stars. Like I said, March is a huge time of year. I'm going to do these videos every day for you guys. Like I said, we sleep in May. I don't need to sleep. I'm going to just keep pumping these out for you guys. So I will see you tomorrow. Peace.